Morning.
Morning, sir.
Okay, today we'll start a new chapter. Any questions in the previous one? Work energy power.
No.
Okay. There's one thing I want to explain. See, in this problem there's an elastic string. Okay. So elastic string, it has got a force constant. This one, that is K, which is same as a spring with force constant K. So when you stretch this thing, by let's say delta x, there will be increasing stored and that this thing will be half K square. Take a string. See, this is the natural length of the string. Okay, so when I increase the thing by say delta x, then the energy stored will be half K delta x square, right? But when I move this side by a length delta x, what is the energy stored? If I take a spring, say this is the natural length, and from there I stretch it by then delta x, then the energy stored in the spring is half K delta x square. And when I compress this spring by delta x, then the energy stored is same. Okay, delta x is a change from the natural length. Okay, so either it's stretch or compress it, it does not matter. The energy stored is half K delta x square. In the case of string, when I pull it, it is same as spring, so the energy stored is half K delta x square. But when you compress it, okay, the string will start slacking. So the energy stored is 0.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the difference between a elastic string and a spring. While stretching, it behaves as if it's like a spring, but when you compress it or reduce the length, it is just like a normal string. Okay, so this is the difference between a spring and an elastic string.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go to today's topic. This is the next chapter: system of particles and rotational motion. So far, have we considered system of particles? We have considered only things like mass, or maybe 2 or 3 masses connected, and then some pulley, like this, right? So these are some finite number of masses or particles. Okay, but when you consider large number of particles, okay, then this becomes a system of particles. Okay, and here we have either studied the translation motion of the object, or if it is moving in a circle, the circular motion. Okay, but once you have something like a body of extended dimensions like this, and if I have an axis like this, and I rotate it, okay, then I can consider motion of individual particles in the body. Okay, so this chapter is dealing with these things. So this is different from the previous what you have studied. Okay, previously we have studied mass. So even if this whole mass is considered as a point mass, okay, this is m and this is m, point mass of mass m, and this is another point of mass m. The analysis of the problem will be same. Okay, but here in this chapter we are removing this assumption that the body is a point mass, and we assume that the body is distributed. So once you say distributed, consider what is happening to the individual particles inside the body. Okay. So what do you understand by modeling? what is a model? The body can be modeled as a particle if the dimensions are small. So what does model mean?
Yeah.
It's an approximation of reality.
Hmm.
Okay, so that the solving of the problem becomes easier. Okay, so
Hmm.
so previously we did like this one. The body is considered as a particle because the dimensions of the body are small compared to the other length scales in the problem. But uh, if the body is large, then we can consider as an extended body. Okay, and then rigid body means the shape and size of the body will not change, and the distance between any two particles will remain same. So we take particle 1 here and particle 2 here, the distance between them will not change. Okay, but
Okay.
the orientation can change. One
Hmm.
and the body can become like this, but the distance between the two particles will not change. So that is a rigid body. And we can consider motion of three types. One is translational, other is rotational, third one is combination. So what is an example of translation motion? Translation motion is just moving like this. Okay. So suppose we have a block M here on a table and we apply a force, then this will start sliding, right? So this is a translation motion. Okay. And rotational motion is say a mass attached to a string and we give it a velocity, say it completes a circle. This is an example of a rotational motion. Okay. And what is an example of a combination? See, this is a wheel of a moving vehicle. So this is rotating, right? And it's also translating.
Hmm.
Wheel of a moving vehicle.
Hmm.
Rotating about its axis and also the axis is translating. So this is combination of rotation and translation.
Hmm.
Previously we studied rotation and then circular motion. Right. So this is another example for translation motion. A block sliding along the inclined plane. So the translation motion of all the particles will have the same velocity v. Velocity is a vector. Okay, so the v is same for all the particles, p1, p2, and any particle. All the particles have the same velocity. So this is translation motion. Example of rotational motion is a ceiling fan. Okay, so this is the axis about which it's rotating. So the particle here will move like this. The particle here will move like this. Okay, but the velocities are different. And this is a combination of rotation and translation. Instead of sliding block down the incline, if you have a cylinder or a sphere, it will both rotate and translate. So here both rotation is there and also translation is there. In the case of sliding block, there is no rotation, it's only translation. But now we have a disc or a sphere or a cylinder, it will start rolling and translating. Same as a vehicle of a moving car, it's both translating and rotating. Okay, so when a body rotates about a fixed axis, okay, every particle in the body moves in a circle. So this is a general body, three-dimensional body. Okay, and this is the axis, fixed axis. The axis is not moving in space. So it's fixed axis. So if you take any particle inside the body, it will move in a circle, right? This P1, P2, and P3. Is it clear? And this circle will be perpendicular to the axis. right? And if you take a
Yeah.
particle P3 on the axis, it is not moving. Any particle along the axis is moving. So one interesting point is you can consider this whole body as made up of rings. Okay, and all the rings are rotating,
Largely, yeah.
and the rings will not intersect. Okay, so you can consider the whole body which is rotating as made up of rings with common axis, and they are parallel to each other. And another thing is
Okay.
velocity. This is particle 2. So this has a velocity v2, and this is particle 1 v1. Can you compare the velocity v1 and v2? Which one is more? Which one is less? v1 is this particle p1, and this is v2. This is v1. So which velocity will be more?
V1.
See, the amount of time it takes to complete the circle is same, right?
Yeah.
Capital T. And this particle P1, which is in this one, it has to cover 2 pi R1, right?
Yeah. Okay. So V2 is the answer. Okay.
And V2 is 2 pi R2 by capital T. So V2 is greater. Okay. And
Okay.
the particle on the axis, what is the velocity? V3.
0.
Yeah, it's not moving at all. Okay. The one which is farther away will move at a larger speed.
Yeah.
So here this velocity is greater than the velocity of the inner point.
Yeah.
Okay. And since we are considering a distributed masses, there is something called center of mass. Suppose it's just a point mass, obviously the mass and the center of mass are the same point. Suppose I consider some distributed mass, the center of mass will be somewhere here. Okay. And the center of mass
Okay.
is defined as a point about which there is net zero movement. Suppose I have two masses. Say of equal mass, where will be center of mass? Where is the location of center of mass here?
Sir, in which one?
In this one, two masses M1, M and M, two equal masses.
Sir, we can use the midpoint for section formula.
Yeah, center of
Section
mass
formula.
is, yeah, center of mass will be in the middle.
If both are equal.
Yeah, both are equal. So one way to understand this is if I support this whole structure with a point here, okay, and the gravity say downwards, then it should remain in balance,
Yeah.
right? So similarly, if I take two masses, M and 2M, where will be center of mass?
Sir, it will be near 2m. Near to 2m.
But what exactly is the distance? Suppose the whole length is L. What will be this distance?
L by 3.
Yeah. So the way to get it is, suppose I call this distance as X. So about this point, I should be able to support this whole thing. So 2m is the mass of this side. So 2m g is the weight of this thing into x should be equal to mg into L minus x. Because
Yeah.
uh, this is the weight acting here, and that will create a torque like this, rotating force. Okay, and the value of the rotating force is the force into the distance.
Yeah.
Similarly, this thing is going to act mg like this at a distance. So these two should be equal. So from that I get 2x equal to L minus x. So x is L by 3. So center of mass is the point about which I should be able to balance the system.
Yeah.
Okay. So two masses M1 and M2, and M2 is M1 and M2.
Here is the section formula of coordinate geometry, which we
Yeah,
learned
but
in term.
here you should understand it more physically,
Yeah.
so you'll get a better feel of
Okay.
it. So here there are two masses on the x-axis. One is at x1, another is x2, and it is given that x2 is greater than x1. So it's on the right hand side, and the masses are m1 and m2.
Okay.
So I have to find the position of center of mass. So center of mass will be in between somewhere. Okay, so the center of mass should be such that the moments of the masses are same. So suppose the center of mass is the position x. This is from the origin. From the origin, this coordinate is x1. So this coordinate is capital X. Then this length is x minus x1, and this length is how much? x2 minus x, right?
X2 minus x1.
x2 minus capital X.
Yeah.
Capital X is the coordinate of the center of mass.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the moment should be equal. So m1 into x minus x1 should be equal to m2 into x2 minus x. Okay, so from that I get x as m1 x1 plus m2 x2 divided by m1 plus m2. Okay, so in this formula, x1 and x2 are coordinates, not the lengths. But in this
Yeah.
formula, these two are lengths. It's writing m1 L1 equal to m2 L2. L1 and L2 are lengths, which are always positive. But using and from that I'll get this equation x equal to m1 x1 plus m2 x2 divided by m1 plus m2. This x1 and x2 are not length; they are coordinates of the masses. So it can be positive or negative. If we take my origin as here, okay, then x1 and x2 will become negative, but still the answer will be correct. So similarly, y is m1 y1 plus m2 y2 divided by m1 plus m2. So this thing I consider for two particles. So in general, if there are n particles, I can extend this formula. The x coordinate of the center of mass is m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus 1 up to mn xn divided by the total mass m1 plus m2. Similarly, you can get y and z. Okay, usually we live in 3D world, right? So we have to get the coordinates of center of mass. Means you have to get x, y, z of center of mass.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now we have x coordinate, y coordinate of center of mass, right? So we can multiply x with I cap, y with j cap, and z with k cap, and combine them. Okay, and then you can express uh, the radius vector of the center of mass. So this is of center of mass. Instead of saying x of center of mass, y of center of mass, and z of center of mass, I can just combine them and call it the r vector, the quotient vector of the center of mass, which is equal to sigma of mi ri, where ri is the quotient vector of the particle I divided by m.
Okay.
Because when I multiply this I, this thing will get multiplied by I cap, this thing will get multiplied by j cap, and this thing will get multiplied by k cap. So I can combine these three and take m1 outside, and it will become m1 into x1 I cap plus y1 j cap plus z1 k cap, and that is m1 into r1 cap, r1, not r1 cap, r1 cap, r1. Okay, so that's what is the first term here. It's m1 into r1. Okay, and the denominator is the total mass, say capital M. So that is the denominator. Denominator is independent of the I, so it can be taken out commonly. Okay, so M is the total mass of the system. The quotient vector of center of mass is capital X I cap plus capital Y j cap plus capital Z j cap. The capital X is same as this one. And the quotient vector of I particle is this one. Okay, so here we have considered a system, a body as if it's made up of discrete particles. Like the whole body is made of particles of masses m1, m2, so on to m. So it is a system of n discrete particles. But instead of that, we can have a distributed mass and continuous mass. Okay, in that case, instead of writing sigma mi/ra by m, we can consider the small element of mass dm. So ith particle of mass m will be equivalent to dm. Okay, and instead of taking summation of I, I'll take integral of dm, which will cover the full mass. So the radius of the portion out of the center of mass is integral dm r divided by m. Here is summation of mi ri divided by m. So here it is dm into r.
Okay.
So in component form, it will be like this. X is integral dmx by m and y, capital Y and capital Z. So you can get center of mass of a continuous mass distribution. Okay. Suppose the system is made of n particles. Okay. Suppose there is mass m1, m2. You know how to find center of mass, right? m1 x1 plus m2 x2 divided by m1 plus m2. Right? Hello?
Yeah.
Suppose I add a third mass, m3. Then how will you find center of mass? Again, it will become
M3x3
divided by m1 plus m2.
by 3.
Not 3. m1 plus m2 plus m2, total mass.
Yeah, 3. Yeah.
Okay. Now, one way to understand another way of understanding this, getting this result is, I'll find center of mass of these two. Okay, that will be at this location.
Yeah.
So capital X equal to m1 x1 plus m2 x2 divided by m1 plus m2. Then I'll take center, and the mass that should be put here is m1 plus m2. So m1 and m2, the individual mass, I'm replacing by the total mass m1 plus m2 at the location m1 x1. Okay, now I'll take center of mass of these two. Okay, so that should come out as the same one.
Corona.
Got it? Three masses are there. Instead of finding the center of mass of all the masses together, I'll take first two masses, find the center of mass, and at the center of mass I'll put the total mass m1 and m2, and then I'll find center of mass of this m1 plus m2 and m3. That should turn out to be the same as this one. So center of mass of three particles is center of mass of two particles and center of mass of one particle. Okay. So the center of mass of two particles is at this location.
Yeah.
And the third particle is here. Okay.
Yeah.
Now for finding center of mass of these two particles, I have to multiply this one with m3.
Find center of mass of two particles and then.
Yeah. So this is m12, right? So m12 into x12 plus m3 x3 divided by this one.
Yeah.
So understand, right? And then for m12 is m1 plus m2, and x12 is this one. So this one into m1 plus m2 is the denominator will go away. So just this thing will come.
Okay.
So this thing is equal to this one. Because m12 is m1 plus m2, that will cancel this denominator. So that is the one which is here. Okay, plus m3 x3 divided by m12 plus m3. M12 is same as m1 plus m2. Okay. This is a important result which can be used. So similarly, if I have distributed mass, center of mass of this object, I can divide this into two. I can find center of mass of this part, and I can find center of mass of this part, and then I can find center of mass of these two point masses. Center of mass means I'm replacing the full mass by a point mass at the center of mass.
Okay.
Okay, now solve this question. Meter. $100 gram, 150 gram.
Should we just take 1 point as the origin?
Yeah. So we can take this one. This is the origin, right? Yeah, basically you have to take XY axis.
Yeah.
So this is X axis. So this is Y axis. Okay. So you have to find capital X and capital Y, right?
Yeah.
Of center of mass. So you can use that formula m1 x1 plus m2 is x2. This formula, right? For x, y, x and y. So what is the answer? 50 into 5 plus 200 into how much? 5 by 2, right?
Hmm.
The total mass is how much?
450.
Okay, what about y?
That is 0.45.
What is the step?
150. Sir, it will just be 200 into 5.
Not 5. 5 is this length, no?
200 into the height. So
How much is this angle?
60.
Okay, so what will be this height? This will be 5 sine 60, right?
Yeah.
5 sine 60 degrees. So 5 root 3 by 2. Root 3 by 2, how much? This is less than 1 or greater than 1?
Greater than 1. No, less than 1, sorry. Less than 1.
1.72. It should be less than 1, right? Because 5 is hypotenuse.
Yeah. Less than 1 because sine cannot exceed.
Yeah. So this is how we have to find there is no z coordinate because z is always 0. If you assume the triangle is in xy plane, z will be 0. Assuming that the triangle is in xy plane. This one, this is a distributed mass. What is a lamina?
A thin flat plate.
Yeah. So the thickness is very small. It's like a 2D object.
Okay.
Uniform L-shaped lamina. Okay, the total mass is 3 kg. So the coordinates are given 1, 2. Getting the idea how to do it?
We just find the center of all the vertices.
Vertices is already given. See, the full L-shaped lamina can be split into 3 parts, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and all 3 are equal parts. Square of 1 meter by 1 meter.
Sir, answer will be 1:1.
And just 1, 1. No. See, if you balance this whole structure at this point, will it stay in balance? It will fall down, right?
Yeah.
Ah. You have to use this idea, or you can see, you can straight away see this whole mass. I can see this whole this one square. I can replace this square by a point mass at the center of mass.
Yeah.
Okay, so that will be at the center. Okay, similarly, this square I can replace the whole square by the point mass at this point at the center of mass. Similarly, this square I can replace by a point mass at this point. Okay, and the coordinate of this point is what? What is the coordinate of this point? Center of mass of this one square.
Which point?
What is the x coordinate?
Yeah, it will be x coordinate will be 0.5.
Yeah. Y coordinate?
1.
1 is here, no? 1 is this value.
1.5.
Similarly, the coordinate of this point is known, right?
Yeah.
What is it? 0.5, comma?
0.5, 0.5.
Yeah. Similarly, the coordinate of this point is known. So all the point, the mass, it will be equal masses. So let it be m, m, m. And m is the total mass, 3 kg, divided by 3. Okay, so you know the mass and the coordinate of the masses. So from that you can find x, right? X and y. Z is 0. Is it right?
Yeah.
Another way to do.
No.
Yeah. So from this you can find x and y. Z is 0.
Okay.
Okay. Instead of that, I can see this mass is there, no m, and this m. I can replace these two masses by a mass of 2m here, and it will be at 1, comma 1 by symmetry.
Okay.
Okay. Then I have to find center of mass of these two masses, 2m and this one. So that is so x will be m into 0.5 plus 2m into 1 divided by total mass is 3m. So that is 2.5 by 3. Right? Either you can. So this method will give same thing. M into x is 0.5, right? This second mass m into 0.5 is the third mass m into 1.5 divided by 3m. So 0.5, 0.5, 1, so 2.5. Same thing. These two are same. Getting it now? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this one. Understanding the question?
Yeah.
So how do you find center of mass?
G.
Yeah, but how do you prove it?
So it will be centroid.
Yeah, but see if you have two masses, say m1, m2, sorry, same mass, m1 and m1. So where will be center of mass?
Center point.
Yeah, and this is a point mass, right? So if we take a rod of uniform
Density.
mass distribution, it's uniform rod. So where will be center of mass? At the middle, right?
Center point. Center
Yeah.
point.
Okay. Now we take one more rod like this. This also uniform. So where will be center of mass of this one?
Sir, I can't see this. Yeah, I can't see.
You can see the screen. This is the one. Second rod. Where will be
Yeah,
center of mass of this one?
a center point only.
Yeah, center point of this one. Okay. Now I
Yeah.
consider system of these two rods. So where will be
Yeah.
center of mass of the two rods? If you consider two rods as a single system, where will
Yeah. So we will connect these two centers, and then the center point of that line will be the center of mass.
no, why will it be center point? Okay, if you connect these two,
Yeah.
okay, suppose if this rod is of smaller length, so this is say m and this mass is say 2m, for example. So the center of mass will be
It won't be center point.
closer towards this one, right?
It will be yeah.
Okay, but one thing I can say is, see, center of mass is a point about which I can balance the mass.
Okay.
So one thing I can say is, if I take a line passing through this one, so I should be able to support this system, right? Instead of supporting the system by a point, I'll support this using a horizontal line.
Hmm.
So then it will stay balanced on this line.
Yeah.
Okay. So center of mass is somewhere on this line.
Yeah.
Okay. Because if I'm able to support by holding the whole thing by the center line, no, suppose center of mass, I'm able to hold the thing by holding the center of mass at a point, and this line has got that point. So if I'm holding the whole line, I should be able to support this mass. So similarly, here this triangle I can consider as made up of many horizontal strips, right?
Yeah.
So each strip, the middle point, all small strips. If we take the middle point and say another strip here and take its middle point, and I support, so all these parallel strips, if you take the middle point, and I will be able to support this whole structure along this line, right?
Mm.
And when you draw a median, these two lengths are same. Okay, at any parallel length. Everywhere the lengths are same, but not. This is 3. Okay, got it, no?
Yeah.
Everywhere the lengths are same. Okay, so all these strips will be able to balance on this same single line.
Mm.
Okay, so similarly, I can take strip like this. So this strip I will be able to, and another strip like this. So the middle point of all these strips, I'll be able to balance along this line. Okay, the full mass I can balance along this line L1 and also along this line L2, right?
Yeah.
So the center of mass should be somewhere on this line L1 and also somewhere along this line L2. So center of mass lies in both L1 and L2. That is possible at this point where it is intersecting.
Okay.
Center of mass is lying along the line. That's why I'm able to support this mass. Okay, and it's also lying on the second line. Okay, and the center of mass is lying on both the lines, so it should be at the intersection of both these lines, and that is the definition of centroid. Centroid is the intersecting point of the medians. Similarly, I can take strips like this parallel to this side, so that will give me a balancing line like this. So L3. So L1, L2, L3 are the medians, so they will intersect at the centroid. And the median, the line which is passing through the medians is a line about which the thing will balance. So what is capital R here?
Sum of all R.
No. See, this is a system of n particles, right?
Yeah.
Of masses m1, m2, m3 at locations r1, r2, so on to rn. And this capital M is the total mass summation of mi's, and this is a portion of center of mass.
Yeah.
Okay. So suppose the system, the particles are moving. So this is m1. So this is m2. Okay. They can move with different velocities. The distance between them will not change, but this can move with velocity v1, and this thing can move with velocity v2. Okay. The velocities can be different. For example, suppose I'm fixing this mass at about this point m1 and making it rotate, then v1 will be 0, but v2 will have some value. Okay. So now, so all the particles will have individual velocities v1, v2, so to vn, and then how the center of mass is moving. Center of mass is the imaginary point. How it will move. Okay. So you have to get how the velocity of the center of mass. So you can differentiate both the sides with respect to time. So that will give m into d by dt of r equal to m1 into d by dt of r1, so on like that. So this is, what is d by dt of r1? R1 is pushing out to the first particle, right? So that is v1. There's m2, v2, plus so on. Okay, so this is velocity of center of mass. Is that right?
Yeah.
So suppose you take this simple example. M, say this move with velocity v, and this was a move with velocity v. So what will be the velocity of center of mass in this case? Tell me what should be the answer? Velocity of center of mass here.
V only.
Yeah, it's m v plus mv divided by the total mass 2m, right?
Yeah.
So it will be v. Okay, but suppose if it is like this, v and v. In this case, what will be the velocity of center of mass?
They will subtract, right?
Yeah. So what is the answer?
So it will be 0.
Yeah, because the center of mass will be in the middle. These two are moving at the so after something the distance will be here, right? So this thing will not change. The midpoint will not change.
So I have doubt in this question.
Huh?
I have doubt in this question.
Yeah. Which one?
Integral mod 1 minus x.
Hold on. Let me finish this one. Okay. So from the individual particles velocity, I can get the velocity of center of mass like by combining like this. Similarly, I can get mass into acceleration of center of mass equal to M1 A1 plus M2 A2 plus so on. Okay, so acceleration of the individual particles can be related to the acceleration of center of mass by this equation. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What is the question? What are the limits?
0 to 4.
So we split into two parts, right?
Yeah.
0 to 4 of mod of 1 minus x.
Yeah.
Yes. So integral 0 to 1 and then 1 to 3.
Okay.
1 to 3 will be x minus 1 and 0 to 1 will be 1 minus x.
Yeah.
That's it. This is x minus x square by 2, x square by 2 minus x. Limit 0, 1, limit 1, 1 to 4. Clear?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can, this is 1. Okay, so this will cut at 1. At x equal to 0, the value is 1. And x equal to 4, the value is 3.
Yeah.
So this height is 3. And this length is at x equal to 4, right? So this length is 3.
Yeah.
Am I correct? No. Yeah. 1 to 4, 0 to 4 only. So this length is 3. So this is 1. So half into base into height plus half into base into height, 3 into 3. So half into 10. So 5.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Area under the curve.
Okay, sir.
But when you are solving at home, try by multiple methods, not just one method. In the
Okay.
exam you just take the shortest method.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Any other question?
Okay, sir. Sir, anything else we have to do today?
Anything else in?
We have to do today.
No. You can close.
Okay.
Okay then.
Sir, how many chapters are left?
How many?
Chapters are left in 11.
See, there will be totally 16 chapters.
Okay.
This is 7th chapter.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and this is rotational topic is a sort of difficult, important chapter. Okay. So,
It is difficult.
and important
Okay.
from exam point of view, from everything.
Okay, sir.
Okay, and see you tomorrow.
See you, sir. Bye, sir.